It's time to talk sports. It's Hacksaw's Headlines, a panorama of the world of sports, stories, comments, and opinions. Now, here's iconic sports talk show host Lee Hacksaw Hamilton and co-host John Riley.
Who wants to talk sports on a Monday? We do, you do. From the Dixieline Lumber and Home Center studios in San Diego, it is MLB Trading Deadline Day. We welcome you to our Monday bonus podcast brought to you by Dixieline Lumber and Home Centers with 8 locations to serve you in San Diego. You got projects, they've got materials, you want ideas, they can be your best friend. Go to Dixieline.com to see all the things they have to offer. This is Lee Hacksaw Hamilton, along with my co-host with his opinions from left field, where it's still 91 degrees outside, John Riley. John, good afternoon. You're going to be monitoring late-breaking stories from the baseball trade deadline. It has been wild Saturday, wild Sunday, and Monday has just been as wild, and we still got an hour and a half to go before the deadline. How are you?
I'm doing great, man. This is one of the best days in the MLB season when fortunes can change on a flip of a trade.
And there have been a lot of trades. We're going to try to march through. As of this hour, I now count 30 trades so far since Friday. We'll see more that are coming down the turnpike, but there have been blockbusters with lots of names. Most of them are big names for hot young prospects or players in the minor leagues, but we'll go through the big trades as we progress through this podcast. And a reminder, when we're done, because we're baseball-centric and we put topics on the table and we do sports talk the way it should be done, John, when we're done, we open it up. The fans get the chance to respond to who got traded where, good deal, bad deal, who did not get traded, who helped themselves, who hurt themselves. It's all in fans forum. So for everybody on live stream who's got a baseball opinion, how do they jump into this conversation?
Well, people have already jumped in, Lee. I mean, everyone was piling in 15 minutes before we came live. And who do I see here? Do you love it? Teamer. I see sports fan, music to my ears. And Casey, Flash Bainey is in the house. Hey, swung at ball 4. That's a new name in the house. So, and then Texocala Station. So we got a lot of comments and questions about the trade deadline. If you've got a hot take, drop your comment or question in the live chat on YouTube, X, or Facebook to get involved in Fans Forum.
Fans Forum coming up right at the end, looking for Padre fan, Dodger fan, Angel fan, baseball fan. Fans Forum is made for you. Come co-host the back end of this podcast with us. Okay, John, let's get started. Topic 1. The Dodgers, the Dodgers way. What'd you think? What was your reaction to the acquisition of TARIK Skubal?
It was totally expected. I mean, this lined up too perfectly. The Dodgers get another ace, and they're loaded for, they're ready to go for the playoffs.
5-star rotation. Skubal, Yamamoto, Ohtani, who will likely be healthy by October. The potential, John, to have a 9-man rotation because you add Snell and maybe Glasnow. And as of this hour, they still have Emmett Sheehan. They still have Eric Lauer. They have Justin Robleski. And then there is Sasaki. Can you believe that? Potential of a 9-man rotation involving the Dodgers. TARIK Skubal, late developer, about to be a free agent. John, 31-10 over a 2-year span with a 2.30 ERA, had scope surgery on his elbow in June. Since that time, he's got a 2.03 ERA. He's just dominant. Didn't want to be traded. Detroit fell out of the race. Detroit did not feel they could sign him. The Dodgers made themselves the offer with their rich farm system. They're bringing on a left-hander who's 38-15 in the last 2.5 years. And the stunner to me, John, they did not give up the blue chips at the top of their draft board. Yes, they traded very good young outfielder Zaire Hope in Double-A. Yes, they traded Triple-A pitcher River Ryan, but he's had injury problems. Yes, they traded highly regarded minor league pitcher Brady Smith in Class A, but he's years away. Big acquisition, 9-man rotation. Then They went out in the marketplace because they decided they wanted to get another insurance policy catcher, not knowing what's going to happen with Will Smith. They reacquired Ben Rostvet. He, of course, had been with the Dodgers, came up through their system. Guy's got a great glove, doesn't hit very much. He was with the New York Mets. They got him for a minor leaguer. And then about an hour ago, they made another trade to get Chris Bubik, a setup relief pitcher from the Kansas City Royals, and they traded one of their other minor league relief pitchers, Carlos Duran, to go get him. This guy's an insurance policy because the Dodgers continue to have injury problems in the bullpen. Unique aspect to me, they did not trade Emmett Sheehan. They did not offer Hyseong Kim. They did not trade any of the other big blue chip names that were at AA. Andrew Friedman spent all day yesterday responding to the media criticism, the columnist, the questions. He says, we're not ruining baseball. We're just developing talent, using our resources to go get better. And yes, our marketplace is different than a lot of other marketplaces in terms of revenue streams. We're not ruining baseball. Please respect our baseball department for the job they do. We don't make mistakes on players we draft, the international players we sign, and we use some of those guys as trade currency. So, John, you want to talk about the 5-star rotation or the 9-man rotation? Are you surprised Detroit did not get more out of the deal? They should have demanded Emmett Sheehan to be part of this equation to make their pitching staff whole. What do you make of Dodger baseball at this hour?
Well, yeah, I mean, they should have been an A grade. You gave them what did you give them, a B plus or something last time? This team is loaded, and you're going to have Skubal, Yamamoto, you're going to have potentially Ohtani, potentially Snell back. Roki's looking better. Sheehan has been pretty good. Robleski has been pretty good. Maybe Glasnow comes back. I mean, nowadays you only need a 4-man rotation for a 7-game series. So this was a great move by the Dodgers. I'm not angry at the Dodgers. As a Padre fan, I'm like, okay, big brother got the highlight guy, but the Dodgers gave up their number 5, their number 7, and their number 17, and nobody off the major league roster. And that sounds really light, even, for a guy that's a 2-month rental. It's this guy's a Cy Young Award winner, and probably the best or the second best pitcher in all of baseball next to Paul Skeens. But I'm just noticing all around the league, all these deals going, the return on a lot of these deals doesn't seem to be as great. It's not just this Skubal deal, but it's across the board. But right now, this set up too perfectly. You could see this train coming from 10 miles away that this deal was going to go down, Lee.
There are a couple of intangibles I'll throw out here to post on the bulletin board, and you can respond to this too if you want. One of the intangibles are, if the Dodgers don't make the deal to get Skubal probably winds up in Milwaukee because they were trying hard too, and they have a good farm system. So then you'd have to line up against Mizorowski and Skubal in postseason play against the Milwaukee Brewers. So that's why it was adamant for the Dodgers to get the left-hander to keep him from going to somewhere else. That's one piece of the equation. The other piece is they're inheriting, and it's not a 2-month rental, they're inheriting the right to sign this guy to a mega money contract because he's represented by you-know-who, Scott Boras. But the Dodgers are not afraid to spend money. The Dodgers have the resources to make a massive investment. Tarik Skubal might be a $40 million pitcher. Boras might ask for $50 million. I don't think very many other teams in baseball would have been able to make this deal knowing what was down road when we get to November 1st, when this guy would become effectively a free agent. So I think the intangibles are also part of this equation, are they not?
Yeah, I mean, I saw some of the national media were saying that the Tigers should have, waited until today to make the deal to maximize the leverage. But to your point, Milwaukee was out there looming, ready to pounce on this young man. So, Dodgers. I mean, of course they got Skubal, of course they make all the great moves. Of course they don't deal away the talent that they need to go win a three-peat this year. So they were favorites before, they're uber favorites now. But, let's be clear here, Lee, he's still a rental because he's a free agent in the offseason. So they don't earn a right to negotiate a long-term deal with him, because all 30 teams have that same right to negotiate with Skubal.
But they can negotiate between now and November 1st when his free agent window would open. And historically, Scott Boras asked for the moon. I don't know very many franchises, John, that have the resources to pay for a guy coming from the moon. So it's a win-win for the Dodgers right now. So you're a Dodger fan, you're a baseball fan. Evil Empire strikes again. But, John, their adage, we're not doing anything wrong. We just have a really great development system and our scouts and our organization, and we have resources to spend. That's what we're doing.
Well, and they have resources to spend because they're getting extra money on their TV deal. Mm-hmm. And, do you think they're going to blow that thing up when they go to the new CBA this coming off season?
Well, it'll be interesting to see, because we know that there are things that some of the big money market franchises do that are going to have to be grandfathered in, whether or not there's a salary cap, but something will change in terms of deferred contracts, how you configure average salaries. All that's going to change, but it does not intimidate the Dodgers. I don't think it intimidates very many teams right now. So Dodger fans, Padre fans, baseball fans, Evil Empire strikes again. Is this good for the game? Or is just baseball being baseball? Then how good is this acquisition? This Dodger pitching staff is unbelievably deep. That's topic one. Topic two, Petco Park, Padres. John, fire it up there.
Here we go. We finally got a deal here that Robbie Ray is coming to San Diego, Lee.
I think it's a good rental. They talked, they shopped hard. Names started flying off the board Friday night. More names came off the board Saturday and some overnight. I think there's two things in play here. They get Robbie Ray as a 2-month rental. I believe the Giants are paying half of the $7 million that he is owed. The Padres didn't really give up anything to rent Robbie Ray. They trade away Double-A pitcher Miguel Mendez. They trade away a young shortstop hitting .300 in the Dominican Summer League, Joniel Hernandez. They didn't touch anybody off the Major League roster, did not trade any of the setup relievers, did not trade any of the blue chippers, what few are left in the farm system. So I think this is a good acquisition. Robbie Ray, 98 and 81 over the course of his career. Banner season this year, John, 10 and 6, 3.08 ERA. Last 7 starts for San Francisco. His earned run average is 1.09. Now, he's a free agent at age 34 come November. He's made $25 million this season. Padres are not going to be able to pay anything near that. He'd have to take a massive pay cut to stay here. We'll see if he likes it here, see if he does well here. But the Padres didn't, I don't think, give up a hell of a lot to get Robbie Ray, and the fact that the Giants paid a chunk of the money. Now, the Padres were in on a whole pile of different people. They tried really hard, but they could not execute deals. They talked to the Angels about Soriano, but they were not going to give up 3 for 1. They obviously made a run at Gausman, but Toronto got multiple prospects for a 35-year-old pitcher. Padres didn't want to give up marquee prospects at the top. Still, they tried hard for Hunter Green. Big money involved there out of Cincinnati. There's an injury factor that's a piece of that equation. Maybe they did not think that Detmers was the real Detmers. He's had, one good half season in the last 3 or 4 years. Maybe they didn't want to overpay for Detmers. Maybe they didn't scout him that highly. I really thought they had the inside shot on Emerson Hancock, but I was told that Seattle wanted Adrian Morejon, and that ended those conversations. Seattle did not want any of the other the Padre setup guys. They wanted Morejon on a short-term rental for Hancock, who was expendable because they got so many good pitchers coming on the way. So I think this was a really good transaction. Now, can they make another deal? Yeah, there might be another short-term rental there, but most of the other short-term rental pitchers are gone and are off the board. We're going to run through the laundry list of other guys that have been since traded that they had intrigue and interest on. They're better right now with a rotation in which they would give the ball to Michael King, then give the ball to Rob Ray, then give the ball to Walker Buehler for whatever innings they get. And if they can get one more rental, some back of the rotation guy, I'd go to postseason with more credible pitching than it is right now. And I'll tell you, this patchwork pitching staff, this cobbled together committee, this burned out bullpen, it alarms me. But if they start to get quality starts from starters 1, 2, and 3, and who knows where Pivetta is going to be, who knows what Musgrove has left, both those guys, John, are going to throw or try to throw 3 innings tomorrow morning in Lake Elsinore in a California League game. So all eyes will be attention there on their first rehab start. But those guys are at least 3 rehab starts with no setbacks away from being able to be on the Padres active roster as August turns to September. So I like the Rob Ray acquisition, and they didn't trade the farm system away to get a pretty established major leaguer. That's my spin. What's yours?
Robbie Padre, it's inevitable. The gods ordained this. I'll tell you what, Lee, I was at the game on Thursday, and that's the one that he pitched, and he looked really sharp. I was surprised because remember when we did the big board of all the potential veteran pitchers the Padres could trade for? I was kind of on the Kevin Gossman bandwagon. I thought he was the veteran, the veteran leadership kind of guy. I kind of thought of Robbie Ray as being more on the downside of his career, but his numbers have looked really good since mid-June. His ERA is around 1.0. Apparently the underlying metrics aren't as sharp, but he's able to get the guys out. So, hey, now we've got 2 starters. Now we've got Michael King and we've got Robbie Ray. I guess Walker Buehler, maybe he qualifies. AJ needs to get another starter. And there's still all kinds of rumors flying around that he's going to, pick up some more bats, maybe some left-handed bats in the outfield. So, we still have an hour and 13 minutes to go here, Lee. What do you think? Do you think AJ is going to cash in on something next?
I think there's one more deal that he'd make, but what is he going to give up? Is he going to give up the top pitcher in the Midwest League that they've got in Class A ball, or are you going to give up the other top pitcher down in Lake Elsinore? Neither one are very dominant right now. Or are you going to mortgage something else off? And then what do you want in return? Is there another pitcher there? I don't think ownership's going to let him take on the big money contract of Hunter Green from Cincinnati. Hancock might be there, but at what price? What are you going to have to pay? Because Hancock is really reliable. Senzatella from Colorado is more relief than he's a starter, and he's been not been dominant at all. Clay Holmes of the Mets is out there. You could probably get him for one of those Class A prospects, but he's coming off a broken leg. There is a uniqueness to the other rumor that maybe they just go get another bat to play in the outfield. And if that other bat is Mickey Moniak, but Colorado's not going to let him go unless there's something significant. Because Moniak has turned himself into a really reliable major leaguer with a little bit of pop, with speed, and a glove that goes and gets the ball. So what are you going to give up to get Moniak? Because Colorado's not going to let him go for some fringe player. It has to be a decent prospect. Moniak, to me, would be very appealable because I think he can play so many different roles. I'd sure like to have another pitcher, but I just don't think this ownership group's letting them take on a lot more salary, and some of these guys that are still out there at this hour carry a lot of salary. What would you do?
Well, Moniak's an attractive guy. I mean, he's not only being a local kid, he hits well at Petco Park. But, there have been all kinds of other crazy rumors. Xander Bogaerts, maybe for Devers. I've seen those rumors. A lot of crazy talk, that we see online right now. But in my opinion, the Padres need another starter more than anything. Right now the boys are starting to hit again. We've been seeing that they've won 8 out of 9. And by the way, Hacksaw, you predicted 9-0. They ended up going 8-1 during this stretch. The Padres, the bats are coming alive. The pitching chaos is working on a, temporary basis, but you can't count on it. But, if Pivetta and Musgrove came back, which is a gigantic if, and both of them were serviceable, they'd be in okay shape going into the playoffs. But I don't see that happening. I mean, I hopefully they can find a way to get at least another arm, if for nothing else, then maybe another lottery ticket, Lee.
Would you trade Matsui Would you trade one of the setup guys? I mean, you keep Morion, you keep Mason Miller. Would you trade the guys in front of them out of the bullpen to go rent another starter? Or is that damaging the uniqueness of this bullpen by committee?
Well, the bullpen is where they have all the depth. So they have nobody in the minors really except for Salas. And, they have so many other contracts that are just so heavy, they can't move them. So when you're talking about a Jason Adam, a Matsui, a Wandy Peralta, you're not going to get back a ton for those guys, but you might get a little something. But right now, the clock's ticking on AJ. I expect him. This is always like Christmas Day, for baseball fans. And AJ Preller always makes this exciting. So I'm hoping he has enough slack in the leash to make at least one other, somewhat significant deal.
End of the day, that left-hander is accomplished, and you did not give up any major leaguers or potential major leaguers at this hour to get that accomplished left-hander. I give him a thumbs up. Let's challenge Padre fans to jump on board, get into this conversation. Fans Forum chat box is open. Does Robbie Ray put you over the top in terms of being a wild card team? Is your pitching rotation now more trustworthy? And of course, it's the intangible. Pivetta, Musgrove, can one of them be part of this thing in September going towards October? Fans Forum chat box is open. Want to hear from you. You're part of this podcast. Padre fans, first-timers, long-timers, jump on board. We go from that. Let's talk Angel baseball, because I knew this was going to happen, and it has. Nice headline there, John.
Yeah, I think when we wrote this, we had a big question mark, but reality is telling us that it is on fire in Anaheim.
With an hour to go before the trade deadline, at this hour, the Angels have now made 5 trades of veteran players. They have picked up at least 8 prospects. Some deals with pretty good upside. Some deals you shake your head at saying they didn't get enough. This all started with what happened Friday with the trade of Logan O'Hoppe and Chase Silseth going to Tampa Bay. Angel Arredondo is a power-hitting infielder, but he's in Class A ball. That's a long way away. You traded away a veteran catcher who was struggling. You traded away a long reliever who took him a while to become established in your bullpen. And you didn't get a major leaguer, and you didn't get bulks of numbers. I would have thought by sending a potential of a starting catcher and a trustworthy long bullpen guy, you would have gotten 3 players, maybe 1 major leaguer. So at the end of the day, the more I thought about it over the weekend, I just don't think John Mozeliak got enough in that transaction. And then, of course, there was the blockbuster with Toronto, Jose Soriano. Now, that turns out to be a 3-for-1 transaction, and they got gems. They got the number 1 player in the Blue Jays organization, the shortstop, Arjun Namali. Guy's got power, guy hits for average, guy's a prospect, guy's probably going to be in Anaheim next year. They also picked up a really good Double-A power-hitting outfielder, Ed Micheletti. He's got 28 home runs in the last year and a half in a Double-A, so that's a big prospect. And they picked up a very young Class A pitcher. Now, Soriano's a stud, there's no doubt about it. Now, Soriano had that blazing start. Hasn't been the same pitcher since, I'll say, about May 15th, but he's shown us spurts. But he's got a live arm. He's never had arm problems. I like the trade. I don't know that they got enough. I thought that maybe there should have been something more established coming from Blue Jays as part of that transaction. Then in the early morning hours today, they traded Brent Suter, the setup left-handed veteran reliever, for a minor league second baseman from Atlanta, Nacho Alvarez, who's a career .272 hitter. Nickel and dime guy with a glove, hasn't been in the major leagues yet. Suter was here for just half a season. They moved Joe Adell, sent him to Cleveland. He had 91 home runs over the course of his career. It took him forever to become an established major leaguer. Then he became a popular guy, hit home runs, chased balls down on the outfield. They got what they think might be the catcher of the future in Jacob Cozart from Cleveland in a straight-up swap for Adell. And then midday today, bit of a surprise, they traded one of their setup relievers, Ryer Zefferjan, who had pitched pretty well and seemed to have found himself as an established closer in a bad bullpen. They traded him to the Chicago Cubs in a multiplayer transaction. So 5 veterans gone, at least 8 prospects here. I didn't like the Hoppy trade. Thought they should have gotten one more add-on in the Soriano deal, considering what a stud he is. Wish they got more than just prospects from the Cubs in the Zephyr-John trade. This rebuild, John's going to take forever. But at least they're doing something rather than treading water. And your reaction?
Well, first of all, breaking news, Lee. The Dodgers have activated Drysdale and you know what I mean? And Sandy Koufax to like pitch for the Dodgers this year. It's unbelievable.
I told you to charge your batteries in your cell phone before we started this podcast.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm with you, Lee. I'm happy that the Angels are finally busting a move, you know, and what we're finding is what I said earlier, what they're getting back in these deals isn't all that. I mean, there aren't, well, you know, the Angels got the number 1 shortstop from the Blue Jays, but he's not a Leo DeVries kind of a prospect. You know, the top upper echelon prospects in baseball, those guys are locked in. You know, they're anchored to their team. But I am happy to see, you know, Mozeliak's coming in. He had an agenda. He's making some moves and he's being bold. And that's exactly what the Angels are going to need to do. But to your point, it is going to take a long time because you're not going to rebuild your farm system at the trade deadline. You're going to ultimately do it by drafting really well. And that's where you're going to really get your quality players. You know, you might hit on a couple of these guys in the trade deadline, but we know, you know, if it ain't work, we know that it's not working, and the old classic definition of insanity, you can't keep doing the same thing over again. So the Angels are making the right moves here.
Okay, so that's a look at the Padres, the Dodgers, and the Angels. So we want you to jump on board into the Fans Forum chat box with an opinion about what they're doing in Anaheim, right blueprint or not, and they're going to lose from now till the end of the season. It's going to be horrible. What they're doing in Anaheim, what the Padres have just done, and what could happen in this next hour, and obviously what the Dodgers have done. And by the way, John, before we go to the next baseball topic here, let's just touch base on what's going to happen tonight. Padres, Arizona Diamondbacks, very important 4-game series in the desert. The Padres moved their starting pitcher, Michael King, back a day so they could have their supposed ace go against Arizona in game 1 of this 4-game series. And I'll tell you, this team's pretty good. This Arizona team has come together. They hit home runs everywhere. Got 104 bombs on the season. They've won 14 of their last 20. Eduardo Rodriguez has saved their season. He's 10-3. That's the veteran left-hander whom they tried to trade a year ago, 2 years ago. He refused to go. He's become their ace because of the injuries to Zach Gallen and all the other problems they've had with other starting pitching. But their other starters, Mike Soroka, who'd been a journeyman free agent, Merrill Kelly has had a bounce-back season. Brandon Pfaadt has a 5-1 record. That's a pretty collective, competitive rotation led by Rodriguez. And, of course, they got bats. Ketel Marte's got 24 bombs. Corbin Carroll's got 16. Arenado in a very stable season, 14 home runs. The catcher Gabe Moreno's hitting 308. Idago Vargas is hitting 274. Young shortstop they've got, Waldschmidt, is hitting 284. This is a pretty good ball club playing, maybe the best they've played in years. They've won 14 of 20. Padres roll in, having won 8 of their last 9, though I am concerned the Padre pitching staff is operating on fumes. By the way, Arizona has the 3rd best record on home field in the National League at 31-22. It's a huge freaking series, John. So Michael King, get them one, and then we'll worry about Tuesday night when we get to Tuesday night. What do you think?
I think this is going to be a telltale sign on how good this team is because, you know, they played the Giants and, you know, a lot of weak teams over this 9-game streak. So this will be the real test. I think Robbie Ray hopefully will get a start, you know, maybe Tuesday or Wednesday of this week. The Diamondbacks are interesting because, you know, certain players on that roster like Corbin Carroll, but they tend to like have these stealth dudes that end up performing pretty well. And you're like, wow, I didn't really realize that these guys were as good as you expected them to be. But, Zach Gallen is just a shadow of what he used to be in the past. Merrill Kelly, also not the same guy, but they've got different guys in there to replace him. So they're going out to Phoenix. Thank God they're playing indoors. So this will be a real test. I was of the opinion that this 9-game series the Padres are in, they were playing with fool's gold, that, they were playing weak teams, and sure, they went 8-1. I was more of a proponent of the Padres being sellers at this market because of the seller, opportunity. But if the Padres go into this thing and lay an egg against the Diamondbacks and go 1-3 or 0-4, then, it ain't looking good the rest of the way.
I concur, because, you got to beat the teams in front of you, and Arizona's one of the ones in front of you. And if you give ground over this 4-game series, it's going to be hard because the other guys are going to probably win some games along the way too. So big series there. Okay, that's all things as it relates to the teams here on the West Coast and what's going to happen tonight. John, let's take a look at the big overall picture, because we're baseball centric. Like I said, when we hit the air at 1:30 today, there'd been 30 trades made so far. John, let's just take a look at who did what with whom. The Mets traded away Freddie Peralta. He goes to Tampa Bay for a couple of minor leaguers. They traded away reliever A.J. Minter. He went to Minnesota. Traded another setup reliever, Huskar Brozaban. He went to the White Sox. And just before we came on the air, they traded another reliever, Luke Weaver, to the Pittsburgh Pirates. So the Mets have been chipping away at the roster that's given them a last place season. They've not made any blockbuster deals in terms of, look who they got for that guy, because they got rid of guys that just weren't performing very well. So that's what the Mets did. The Mariners, I don't know if they're done dealing yet, but they moved one veteran pitcher off this very deep pitching staff. They moved one big contract. I am stunned that the White Sox agreed to take on the entire contract of right-hander Luis Castillo. His ERA is almost at 5. He just doesn't look like the same pitcher he used to be. But the White Sox took on what was left of this year's $22 million and taken on all of next year's $27 million option. That was a bit of a surprise. Then you got the Washington Nationals. Now, they're not going anywhere, but they moved their power-hitting first baseman, Luis Garcia, to the power-hungry, desperately banged-up New York Yankees. They got 3 minor leaguers in the transaction. I think it's a good deal for Washington. This is kind of an aberration year. Garcia had never, ever done this before. But here's a Yankee team that does not have 3 big bats and is not playing very well without Judge, without Stanton, without Cody Bellinger. So this could be win-win if Garcia can continue to hit at Yankee Stadium like he hit in Washington. And in the Washington big picture, to just add more young players to the equation. Toronto, active. They move Gossman. He goes to the Chicago Cubs. That's a nice rental. And I'll tell you, the management, the front office of the Cubs, they've been really active. San Francisco, goodbye Luis Arraez. He gets traded in that huge deal. Arraez goes to the Philadelphia Phillies along with Caleb Killian, setup reliever. Phillies desperate for pitching help, and they get him, and they get Arraez who'll be spraying hits in the middle of that batting order, and they want him to play second base. San Francisco also traded pitcher Tyler Mahle. He goes to the Atlanta Braves. He's at the end of his contract. They got prospects there. In Baltimore, the Orioles traded power hitter Taylor Ward. He goes up to the Pacific Northwest. They were looking for a right-handed bat in Seattle. We'll see if he can hit home runs there. And then just before we went on, it's unbelievable, 5-for-1 trade they made. They traded Adley Rutschman, the all-star catcher, one of their 2 really good catchers in Baltimore, to the Boston Red Sox in a 5-for-1 transaction. Only thing that stuns me, Orioles are desperate for pitching depth. They did not get any of the young starters from the Bo Sox rotation or anybody from AAA. So they got prospects, there's no doubt about it. They got some good players, but they didn't get arms. I was kind of stunned there. So, John, those are the marquee deals amongst the 30 trades that were made. And as we sit here at this hour, still available again, I'll just recap. Emerson Hancock of Seattle, Reed Detmers of the Angels, Hunter Green and his contract in Cincinnati, Clayton Holmes of the Mets, Nick Lodolo of Cincinnati, and the relief pitcher Senzatella in Colorado. So I don't know how much is left out there, what other big deals there are to be made. What do you think, John?
Well, I remember there was a rumor about Reed Detmers, and it got pulled back. But just late breaking ones here. We've got White Sox are acquiring Joey Bart from the Braves, the catcher, who was supposedly the heir apparent to being the next Buster Posey. The Blue Jays have sent Dalton Varsho to the Astros for Spencer Arrighetti. The Rays have acquired Tyler Wells. The Cubs are acquiring Clay Holmes and Tyrone Taylor from the Mets for Jefferson Rojas. Nolan Hoffman is going from the Phillies to the Royals. The Pirates have acquired Luke Weaver. So there's still a lot going on here, Lee. This is a great day, a lot going on. I'm just really surprised that the Seattle Mariners had always had so much depth in their starting rotation. I was really surprised to see them deal it away. Hacksaw has left the building. Let's see. He is not online right now. He fell off the live streams. Hopefully he'll get back on board here. We need Hacksaw to continue the trade deadline update. But I'll just keep it rolling here. I mean, for me, I'll tell you what, historic trade deadline days, speaking for myself, I remember 1987. This was the San Francisco Giants traded to get Steve Bedrosian, which helped them get into the playoffs and make a little bit of a run that year. So I always like how this trade deadline day can be really special.
Oh, there's no doubt. By the way, we had a power surge here. That's why we disappeared on you for a little bit. But there's no doubt, historically, there have been great trades, guys that are difference makers. And historically, there have been trades like, you traded this guy for that guy? Who is that guy? And maybe the most unique trading deadline deal involved the Detroit Tigers and the Atlanta Braves, in which Detroit traded a prospect for an established relief pitcher. And the prospect turned out to be John Smoltz. So, that guy was in Class A when he got traded from the Detroit Tigers organization in a deal to help save the Tigers bullpen. And he goes to Atlanta, and look at what he became. So, I mean, what happens now impacts what's going on in the pennant races now, but could impact a team 2 years, 5 years, and in John Smoltz's case, 13 years later. Just amazing.
It is. I agree. If I recall, that was Doyle Alexander that was dealt in that deal. But yeah, there's been so many trades of Hall of Famers earlier in their career. That's what makes today so fun. So let's see how it rolls out. We got another, 52 minutes to go.
Our podcast brought to you by Dixieline Lumber and Home Centers, with 8 locations to serve you in San Diego. You got projects, they've got materials. You want ideas, they can be your best friend. Go to Dixieline.com to see what they've got to offer. John, Dixieline involves a lot of different things, including doors and windows. And when the weather's so hot, doors and windows are really, really important.
Yes, they are, Lee. I don't know what the heck happened. We got to get Dixieline over here. Maybe they can send us their IT team over to your place in the man cave in Rancho Bernardo. But our friends at Dixieline are terrific. I mean, they've been a sponsor of us for going on a couple of years now. And let's just talk a little bit about the doors and windows, because most people have, really nice homes in San Diego, especially here along the coast. And you see these big doors, these big expansive doors that are like accordions, or they slide into the wall and they disappear. What a wonderful way to bring the outside and the inside into a large entertainment space. Whether you're having a graduation party or some kind of an event this summer or going into the fall, Dixieline can set you up with not only the doors, not only with the windows, but the really nice decking that you can have outside. So our friends at Dixieline are terrific. I mean, they're helpful for homeowners. We're doing upgrades like doors, windows, decking, but at the same time, they're like a local hardware store that provides a lot of the nuts and bolts and tools that we need. And then they also provide lumber and building materials for the professional, because about half of Dixieline's business is catering to the professional, to builders, and to contractors. So Dixieline Lumber, fix it, build it, guarantee you're going to enjoy it. Lee, are you back?
We are back. Can you get me? Do you see me?
Yes, I see you. You look terrific.
I don't know what happened. We had a power surge and all of a sudden everything went sideways. We are at halftime. Podcast brought to you by Dixieline Lumber. Just a reminder, when we are done, you get the chance to take over this podcast. It's called Fans Forum. Hopefully, your linkage to us will work better than my linkage to John at this hour. John, how does Fans Forum work for all the first-timers, long-timers, and people with opinions on the baseball trade deadline?
Yeah, people are in here trying to help you out. Like, take this show over, Lee. Call them on the phone, John. Call them on the phone. Tell them to speak. Everyone's trying to help you out here. Yeah, it's something. If you had a power surge, yeah, I'm glad you rebooted and you're fine now. But I'm telling you, there are so many comments. We've got a terrific live stream audience today, much larger than normal. Everyone's tuned in for the MLB trade deadline. So if you have a comment or question about the TARIK Skubal deal with the Dodgers, the Robbie Ray deal with the Padres, or even any of the big deals that the Angels have made, jump on board, get in the live chat, leave your hot take, your question, your comment for Hacksaw on X, on Facebook, on YouTube, and we'll get you involved in Fans Forum.
Okay, we go to the second half. Just a reminder, I write about sports every day of the week on my website, leehacksawhamilton.com. Invite you to check that out, the best 15 minutes in sports, which is a summary of the baseball trading deadline and all the other big stories. Got to read my one man's opinion column. I wrote some very different stuff about what the Dodgers just did, evil empire notwithstanding. Read my one man's opinion column. Also join Hacksaw's Insiders group. When you go to the website, fill out the entry blank, get on the email list, because John and I send out 2 emails a day, one in the morning, one in the afternoon. That is on our email list at Hacksaw's Insiders group. Help us grow this podcast. Give us a thumbs up. Hit the follow button. Give us a 5-star rating on Apple. Hey, this is the first major catastrophe we've had in over 4 years of doing this podcast, and that's doing stuff internationally, globally, from multiple cities and through thunderstorms and snowstorms and all that. First time we ever got disconnected. So that's a pretty good ratio. I think we're hitting about 997 in terms of getting this podcast done.
I blame the Dodgers.
Okay, we go from all things baseball because we got other topics on the table. John, where do you want to go?
Yeah, let's talk about this FIFA deal. Is this another slime ball in the news?
Well, I'll tell you what, this is quite a story that's radically changed over the weekend. We're talking about Gianni Infantino, the president of FIFA, who made a presentation that he wanted to sell the rights to market the World Cup and the Club World Cup tournaments in the future, all World Cup tournaments, to a U.S.-based firm financed with money from the Kushner-Trump organizations. And he got unbelievable blowback. These are some of the headlines in the international press around the world about what Infantino attempting to do. It's not his right to sell these marketing agreements. This is like an own goal in a game. He suffered a terrible loss. He's poisoned the water with all the relationships, with all the federations. This man stepped on a landmine doing this. This man is the wrong man to lead us. There must be accountability. We will now investigate him. This marketing project was a project of one person. He circumvented all the governance of how FIFA has operated since 1930. And across the board, John, they're giving him a vote of no confidence. This was an insurrection. UEFA, which is the European Federation, made up of 111 different federations in different countries, was the first to step forward saying, if you do this deal, we will boycott all the World Cup games. That was then followed by CONCACAF, which runs the federations here, North America, Canada, Central America, South America. Then the USSF, just weeks after the successful World Cup, went front and center, said, we will boycott and we will not bid on broadcast rights if you try to go ahead and make this deal. And then it was followed by groups in Asia. I was told there were more than 150 of the 211 federation members of FIFA that want action taken against this guy. I think this guy's going to lose his job. And of course, all this came a day after he put out a scathing memo ripping the global media for spewing hate. And his closing comment was, "Football will rise above all." Well, I think that comment now holds true, John. Football will rise above all. I think he's going to be taken out. I think there will be a coup d'etat to topple his leadership. And get this, overnight, there's a report in the Washington Post that Infantino called the Trump administration asking for help from them to intervene with FIFA's confederations. How is that humanly possible? Because Trump's global reputation is tattered and battered. How is he going to help these countries convince them Infantino should stay on the job? But at the end of the day, the last sentence from his scathing commentary in his essay, football will rise above all. Hell yes, football's going to rise above all, and he's going to be in the gutter without a job. John, what he tried to do was illegal, and what he tried to do is going to cost him his soccer career and his reputation for life. Amazing story. Just amazing story to try to dig it out, ferret it out, and post it. Good job getting those headlines posted. What do you think, John?
It's just, it's no surprise, right? I mean, FIFA historically has been, a fairly corrupt organization. There's been a lot of skimming of money here. And I know that Infantino was planning to be the CEO of this new marketing organization that was going to purchase it. So he was in on the grift. And you look at this guy and like what he did, he was stroking Trump, giving him a FIFA World Peace Prize, so it's all part of this sort of, like this association of money and power and the corruption that comes along with it. So this whole thing smells terrible. And it's also the way he went about courting a lot of those small nations to, get on board with his idea and his plan, because when you've got like a small nation in Africa having as much voting power as a large nation in Europe, he could tilt the playing field in his favor. So this is a disaster. So hopefully they clean this thing up and maybe there'll be better times ahead.
Just absolutely amazing. John, I just got a bulletin. There's another baseball trade that's about to be made. The Red Sox are about to trade their shortstop, Marcelo Mayer, to the Giants for their closer, Eric Miller. So that's another significant transaction. Boston's gearing up. And of course, the Red Sox are red hot. So that's where we are on the Infantino World Cup crisis. You're a soccer fan. This guy going to get what he deserves? Feel free, jump on board. Fans Forum chat box is open. There are a few other things here to talk about aside from baseball, Infantino, and what happened to our podcast today because of a power outage. Let's talk football. John, we got football headlines, a whole pile of places.
Yeah, look at this. We've got 9 teams on the big board.
Let's talk headlines very briefly. LA Rams are going to meet this coming Saturday with Aaron Donald. We'll talk about his decision. Does he come back? Aaron Donald has been working on his own with a private trainer at the Rams facility since camp opened. The big debate, is he in football shape? That's going to be a big challenge. Second story breaking with the Rams, their tackle, Alaris Jackson, who's had problems off the field with the law, missing practice now. They're a little bit concerned about testing that he has to go through for blood clots. Have the blood clots return to Alaris Jackson. Keep an eye on that story. Chargers, the energy and the urgency under Mike McDaniel has been really something to watch at their practices. That's all people are talking about. The offense looks radically different with the motion packages on virtually every snap, the mismatches they're creating with their wide receivers. A week into camp, the hit in camp has been a 5'9" sprint wide receiver inside kid, Brennan Thompson, catches everything. And the number 1 draft pick, Hakeem Mesidor, who's playing a lot better, sometimes inside, sometimes outside. In terms of the offensive line, Joe Ortiz told the media on Friday, Do not question us about what we've done until we go through 13 full practices, and then you can question the decisions we're making in the offensive front. Chargers are still taking a lot of heat that you didn't do enough to get the right people in front of Justin Herbert. So that's a big storyline with the Rams and a bigger storyline about the excitement as it relates with the Chargers. In Tampa Bay, I don't understand why they conduct their business the way they conduct their business, the Glazer family. Baker Mayfield's gone in there and won 2 NFC South championships and made them really competitive. He's in the final year of his contract. They're miles apart on a contract extension in terms of dollars. And he went public over the weekend and said, they undervalue me. I feel unappreciated. They didn't even offer him $40 million a year. He's like the 20th highest paid quarterback in the league, despite the fact he saved the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So I don't know where that situation is going to go. And they also got a situation with a Pro Bowl defensive tackle, Vita Vea, who's only supposed to make $16 million on the final year. And he's been an anchor and a cornerstone of their defensive front. And he's going to be a free agent too, and they're lowballing him. I don't know why Tampa is conducting the business the way Tampa conducts business. San Francisco, another year, more injuries. Ricky Pearsall, really bright wide receiver out of Florida State, gone. Surgery, PCL damage, back of the knee. He was hurt half of his rookie season. That's a big setback. They did bring back Deebo Samuel. They've just signed him to a contract to come back and be one of their cornerstone wide receivers. Of course, they also got Mike Evans from Tampa Bay. In Arizona, bit of a scare, big defensive tackle Walter Nolan, who was a number 1 pick a year ago, virtually missed all of last season with 2 knee injuries. He's dinged the knee again. He's out of practice, then he's in practice, and he's limited in practice. They don't think it's major, but they're going to have to nurse him through preseason camp. Kansas City, tough news. Xavier Worthy, who is a really great athlete, speed wide receiver, he's gone down with another shoulder injury, big setback there. And of course, Rashee Rice is very limited in workouts because he's recovering from his own knee problems from last year. In Detroit, Lions make a roster move. Pretty good acquisition. They signed veteran linebacker Devin White to a free agent contract. He was an ex-Tampa Bay starter for a long time, Pro Bowler, was with the Raiders last year, one of their leading tacklers. New York Jets, please explain this to me. They bring in Terrion Arnold. He's the former number 1 pick of the Detroit Lions, who was released after he got arrested on 8 different felonies for hiring people to retaliate for a robbery at his condominium in Florida. He's out of the NFL. The league has not suspended him. The league hasn't put him on the reserve list. He's got $1 million bond. He's got 8 felony accounts, and the league is letting him make free agent visits to clubs. He was with the Jets over the weekend. And Denver, this is an intriguing storyline. The Broncos over the weekend have brought in Taysom Hill. Remember him? Great college quarterback. Went to the New Orleans Saints, was kind of a hybrid quarterback, fullback, tight end. He had a 9-year run with New Orleans. Was very productive every time they asked him. Anyhow, Taysom Hill has gone to Denver and is interviewing with Sean Payton, whom he played for before, about maybe doing the same role with the Denver Broncos. So that's an interesting story. And the last one is CBS. Tony Romo, we talked about it last Thursday, removed from the booth. We're led to believe that he's entering an alcohol rehab center. Jerry Jones went public yesterday up in Oxnard at their camp supporting Tony Romo, saying he believes in the person, he knows how smart the person is, and every time that Tony Romo has ever gotten knocked down in life, he's gotten up and become a better quarterback or a better person by going through the knocks of life. Jerry Jones says he's going to support Tony Romo as Tony Romo tries to battle through this alcohol situation. So, John, a lot of stories, NFL, and by the way, Thursday night, Hall of Fame football game, Carolina, Arizona, as the NFL preseason is about to begin.
Carolina, Arizona. That's not a real sexy name to begin with. Plus, they'll be playing all their young kids. Yeah, just this Tony Romo story. I like the whole idea of, he's got to, kind of bend the knee here. He's going to have to go through alcohol rehab. But just keep in mind, no one got hurt. You know, it wasn't like one of the drunk driving crashes where people were killed. You know, no one was hurt. He just needs to take care of his business and he'll be back. Guys deserve a second chance in these particular cases. But I'm looking at all those names that you were just throwing around. Ricky Pearsall, wasn't he the guy that got shot over by Union Square in San Francisco a few years ago?
Yeah, before he ever got to camp, he got wounded. Some guy tried to rob him. And he got wounded, but he did get back on the field last year and played very well. And then he got hurt. And then he got a knee injury at the end of the season. And now he's re-injured the knee again. And now he's just had surgery over the weekend. He's gone. So it's poor San Francisco. They can't keep their receivers healthy. And what receivers they have seem to have problems being divas. So poor John Lynch, he's got his hands full as a general manager.
And I have a question for you, Lee, about the Chargers. And you know, I missed it. I wasn't able to go, but you had a breakfast Saturday morning with your old colleague, Pat Curran. You're talking a lot of Charger stories. What were some of the highlights from that breakfast?
Well, we had 8 guys come. We have this kind of pancake club with Pat that we have. Pat, of course, was a longtime tight end. He was my broadcast partner for 13 years. He worked for the Chargers as their business manager for a long time. He's in retirement. And he was there, and the whole number of others, a bunch couldn't come. We had a bunch of other ex-Charger players going to come. But we kind of shared stories about Billy Ray Smith, and we kind of saluted him. Everybody had a cup of coffee, and we saluted Billy Ray and what he stood for and all that. And some of the guys had watched the podcast and responded to my commentary about Billy Ray's life and times. And then we talked about the franchise being up there and who do they root for down here? Do they watch the Chargers? Are they becoming Rams fans? And it's great. My favorite phrase is, we told a bunch of stories and then we told a bunch of lies, and we had a good time too.
See, I like the fact that you keep in touch with all of your old partners, you know, because you've had such a great career in sports broadcasting and you've made so many friendships along the way. And it's great that you guys stay in touch.
Yeah, it really was. And of course, it was really poignant because I think across the table, all 8 of us, I mean, we all had great stories to share about who Billy Ray Smith was, what he represented. You know, John, on my website, I've written a lot of very pointed and opinionated one man's opinion columns. I've gotten a volume of response from people about my column on Billy Ray Smith and his passing. So very nice that you enjoyed it and had great respect for the player. And as I said in my column, and I said in my commentary on KUSI, which is up on my website too, the most impressive thing to me about Billy Ray Smith, knew what was happening to him, he accepted it, and he faced death with dignity, and he knew where his road was going, and he faced it with dignity and class. So, but it was kind of cool. We try to get together, Pancakes with Pat, once every 2 or 3 months when we can.
Right on. I love to hear that. But yeah,
okay.
Billy Ray Smith, there's just been so many great tributes to him in all the media here in San Diego. So just, we're all sharing the love, and you know, we lost a good man.
Yep, very much so. That's all things NFL. If you got an opinion, jump on board. We go from that. We had a late-breaking story over the weekend involving college football, John. This is kind of unique. Things have changed.
Okay, is this the deal that's in Congress right now?
This is the deal that was in Congress and was being held up by those guys, the Big Ten, those guys, the Southeastern Conference. They went back. The congressman went back with college leadership and came up with new language in certain pieces of the clauses. And now the Big Ten and the SEC has signed off. So we'll find out whether or not this thing is going to get voted on by the end of this coming week. This Save the College Football Act. What they agreed to is every school is going to get a $25 million a year retention fee, which will help with the new rules with the transfer portal, stopping the raiding and the tampering with all these kids on a year-by-year basis. So every school will get $25 million retention fee. In addition, they're going to ban conference expansion. That means nobody can go raid somebody else and steal one of their clients. We won't have Oregon, Washington, USC, UCLA jumping ship any longer. They're also going to ban anybody from making an independent TV deal outside of the conference TV deals they have. This is all part of the NCAA wanting to bring everything under the umbrella, John, where they would negotiate a group TV contract for all the conferences. So they're banning any of the independence type deals. And they're going to ban payment of NIL money to any player until that player is on campus. We've had a problem in a bunch of schools where big boosters have poured money in, players have gotten money in advance, and then players jumped ship and went somewhere else and took the money with them and never repaid it. So that's going to be banned. So what they did was finer points, new language laid out across the table. So this getting the Big Ten and the SEC to sign off that they're not going to rate anymore and to sign off how the structure of all of this NIL money and the transfer portal should operate, I think is huge. So this could be voted on. I think the deadline might be August 7th. So we'll see what this week brings us. Reaction?
Well, is this only for the Power Four conferences that we're talking about?
Yes.
Okay, because again, we've got the haves and have-nots. We've got the Jim Crow separate but equal still going on here. It's interesting. They're not going to accept any more changes to the conference play, so that effectively locks out the group of six from ever getting to play with the big boys. I just don't like these conferences being so big. I mean, when you have like 18 teams in the conference, you can't play every team in the football season. So the schedule is wildly unbalanced and frankly unfair. But it just goes back to the whole way this whole thing is working. It's just, dudes with power making subjective decisions with a lot of money involved.
Yeah, and every time they make a rule, there's a lawsuit that therefore follows. So it's just, they've got to get this antitrust exemption. And now that every one of the big time conferences has agreed to it, that's a step in the right direction. You're a college football fan, agree or disagree? Chaos must stop. Give me new structure. Let's go forward and save this thing. Okay, we go from that, John. Let's talk basketball, late-breaking stories.
Yeah, some new updates on the Kawhi trade.
Let's talk about these negotiations that are going on behind closed doors. It has now been 11 months since the NBA began the probe of the salary cap circumvention and the allegations involving Kawhi Leonard and the LA Clippers. Then, of course, there was the potential of the trade. Kawhi goes back to the Toronto Raptors in a big deal for multiple draft picks, plus Brandon Ingram. Then the trade gets frozen by the NBA because Toronto's of the opinion we can't make this trade. If we get Kawhi Leonard and he gets suspended, we get damaged. We have nothing to show for it. Well, now they're trying to negotiate a transaction in which, if Kawhi is disciplined by the league, if his contract is voided, or if he is suspended for his role in salary cap circumvention, and he can't play, and Toronto does not have access to him, Toronto wants compensation from the Clippers through the league office, if that's what happens. If they can't have Kawhi Leonard, they want draft picks or players back from the LA Clippers. And that's what's being negotiated right now. Part of it would also be salary cap relief. I guess the phraseology is the Toronto Raptors want a clause in this deal in which, quote, they would be made whole if Kawhi gets there and then gets disciplined sometime before the start of the season or during the season. It'll be very interesting to see where this goes. It seems to be there's going to be a level of discipline against Steve Ballmer, too. So Toronto wants to be protected. So that's the latest on the Kawhi Leonard situation. Lakers, Rob Pelinka talks over the weekend about all their offseason acquisitions. Lakers had 7 players exit, a lot of veterans led by LeBron James. 9 players come in the front door. He says, we have redefined how we're going to play in the paint. You will see Walker Kessler is going to be a big difference maker on the block, defensively, in the passing game, and offensively. He said, we will be very different offensively. Sexton, Grimes, and Cam Carr, the number 1 pick, are going to play speedball, and we're going to score points off the bench we've not done consistently. Interesting story there from the Lakers defending what they've done. College basketball, UCLA. A judge this past week overruled the 5-for-5 NCAA rule. You have 5 years to get 5 in by handing down a mass judgment that any player who just completed 4 years of eligibility automatically gets a 5th year, even though the new rule is not supposed to go into next year. So that's raised a hell of a lot of problems. And what's happened is UCLA guard Donovan Dent, the star who retired after transferring from New Mexico to UCLA, had a great season, has announced he's coming back. Now, we don't know if he's coming back to play at UCLA or he's coming back to go into a transfer portal, because a judge reopened the transfer portal. If there's any guy that wants to play his 5th year that played this past year, whose eligibility expired, you can jump back in. They have a 7-day window this week to try to go into the transfer portal and find a team. That also involves a St. Louis, a big center. What was his name? Robbie Avila?
Yeah.
The big kid with the glasses?
Mm-hmm.
Well, he didn't get drafted. He played his eligibility out at St. Louis. Didn't get drafted. Went to the Summer League. Got invited to go play for the LA Lakers. Now he said, I think I'm going back to college because of this court ruling this judge just handed down, giving everybody a 5th year of eligibility immediately. So Avila, we don't know if he's going back to St. Louis University or where he's going to go. So he, like Donovan Dent, shopping for a new home this week. He's elected to come back to school. So, John, what about the Raptors? We need to be made whole if Kawhi gets disciplined. Your reaction? Do you buy what Pelinka says about the Lakers? Talk about college hoops too.
Yeah, it's the Clippers deal to the Raptors. When it went down, we were wondering about this because of the potential suspension of Kawhi. So I'm glad that they're kind of working out a framework that in case, the Kawhi suspension happens. And in that case, Toronto would absolutely be deserving of getting their assets back. But these college stories to me are very interesting. First of all, Robbie Avila was just a sensation. And he just has the greatest nicknames. I mean, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, what's the other one? Milk Chamberlain, Larry Nerd, LeBron Frames. Just so many great nicknames. So it'd be fun to see him in the NBA, but he wouldn't last long there at all. And then, UCLA, Donovan Dent, that's another one, that he might be playing somewhere else as well. So there's a lot going on in the world of basketball. I'm frankly getting excited for college ball. I mean, the teams are doing their summer workouts. Even the Aztecs are getting some of their players in from Europe, and they're starting to get their act together. So give it a few more months, and we'll be watching a lot of hoops.
Give me an antitrust exemption, please. Let's save the game, would you?
Yeah, okay.
Okay, that's all things NBA basketball. Feel free. Make the Toronto Raptors whole. You got an opinion? Any Clipper fans in Southern California? Any Clipper fans in San Diego? Any Clipper fans watch this podcast? Jump on board. Fans Forum chat box is open. Last set of topics on the table. Late-breaking hot headlines, John.
Yeah, we do. We got Maurice Pochettino. Did they work out a deal for him?
It is a done deal. As of about noon today, Mauricio Pochettino is coming back for Team USA. 4-year contract extension. They have given him, in addition, creative control over the operation of the Team USA academies, which is the developmental programs, the pathway, and he will be allowed to hire coaches to work under his blueprint at the developmental categories. This is the way they do soccer in Spain, what they do in France, what they do in Europe, etc., to build World Cup programs. So he has been given additional power. I was told the price tag, get a huge pay raise, might have gone from $3 to $4 million up to $6 million this coming season. And he did get opt-out clauses that if over the next 4 years something unique happens abroad in Europe, because he's always talked about going back to the English Premier League, they might have to let him opt out. So he got that, but he got the ultimate power to run the academies, and it's full speed ahead. So Pochettino is staying with Team USA. The other note has to do with college football. We've talked off and on about rivalries and how things have radically changed because of the conferences. USC and Notre Dame this morning announced they will play each other again. They're renewing the rivalry that will start in 2030 at USC and then in South Bend over a 4-year contract. But there's some people in the Hoosier State are not happy. Notre Dame canceled its contracts with the Indiana Hoosiers. Not a lot of people real happy about that because that's become special because Indiana football's become special. Notre Dame has canceled its contract with Indiana to bring USC back into the fold on a 4-year deal. John, thoughts on the coach? Thoughts on the rivalry?
Well, it's good that Pochettino is going to be in the fold, and I like the idea that he has an opportunity to establish a philosophy that goes all the way through their pipeline. Because remember when Spain, made their run and won the World Cup, they talked a lot about that, how Spain has a system essentially, and they coach all their athletes to play in that system. So this sounds great. I mean, Mauricio Pochettino is proven. He's the real deal. And I was very pleased with what I saw from Team USA. So great. I mean, this is a good move for them. But, Indiana, they got to be feeling like the little brother here. They're finally, the number one team, the national champion, and then they get dissed by their big brother upstate in Notre Dame. So I don't know. It's nice to see the USC Notre Dame rivalry come back. But I don't know. I mean, the way college football is right now, I don't know how meaningful the USC Notre Dame rivalry is. I mean, because everything is just so out of whack right now, Lee.
I agree. And by the way, by virtue of scheduling, because Notre Dame's got this alliance with the ACC, and obviously USC's got Big Ten, they're going to play this game on week 0. So what is the impact on the first game of the season outside of TV ratings? Because this game historically, John, has always been in November towards the end of the season or the actual end of the season. So this can be a little bit different, but the rivalry will be back intact in the year 2030, 4-year contract, but it will be played week 0, which means an August game. Does it have the same feel if it's in August?
No, not at all. No, I mean, but, we'll see how this thing goes. Notre Dame always gets the special exceptions.
Okay, we have done our job. We put a lot of topics on the table. Now it's your turn to join us. Fans Forum chat box open for business. This podcast, Monday bonus podcast, brought to you by Dixieline Lumber and Home Centers. 8 locations to serve you in San Diego. You got projects, they got materials. Go to Dixieline.com to check out what they can offer you. Dixieline Lumber. John, any more late-breaking stories, baseball trades? I just got a report here that the Yankees are making a deal to get Heliot Ramos, power hitter from the San Francisco Giants. The Tampa Bay Rays have just acquired Tyler Wells, a setup pitcher. And, of course, the Red Sox evidently were working on closing a deal to get Giant closer Eric Miller in a deal for shortstop Marcelo Mayer. Those are some of the late-breaking deals. So that would take us to about 36 trades, I think, overall.
Yeah, Marcelo Mayer is another San Diego kid, and I was kind of happy that he was in with the Red Sox, and I thought he was going to be a star there, but it seemed like they're giving him up, for something that of a lower value than I really expected.
Oh, no, that Giant relief pitcher's having himself a really good season. I don't know if that's a one-off or not, but that's where that situation is. And, of course, we're going towards the 3 o'clock, top of the hour deadline. We'll see if the Padres make another transaction. But we want to hear what you got to say now, because it's your turn to take over the rest of this podcast. And with hope, no FUBAR, no more power outages, don't get knocked off the air. Go ahead with hope. John, it's your turn. Fans Forum, let them have it at it.
Okay, let's go to Mike Lopez. He was kind enough to make a donation using the YouTube Super Chat feature. Thank you, Mike. Hey, Andrew, let's bring Hunter Green home. A swap of Sheehan or Lauer plus a prospect could get that deal done with the red 2028 Ellie De La Cruz to the Dodgers.
Well, De La Cruz's name has been out there, but I don't think Cincinnati wants to trade the shortstop. I think that's people calling. Hunter Green's got a big contract, but, money's no object with the Dodgers. The Dodgers don't need another starting pitcher. Dodgers probably could use another bat in their batting order because their batting order has been a little bit erratic. I mean, the Dodgers just got swept by the Red Sox. Can you believe that? So I don't think Hunter Green is going anywhere. I think the contract works against him. He's also he's checked off a lot of injuries, a lot of injury problems as a power pitcher, I'd say, over the last 3 years. So I don't think Hunter Green's going to be swapped out of Cincinnati only because of the injury and because of the dollar factor.
I'm not going to comment on the Dodgers. I'm going to comment on Dodger fan Mike right here. This is like Dodger fan just getting greedy. They think they can get anybody in the world. They're going to trade for all the guys. They think they're going to get Hunter Green, and just kind of unload Lauer, who they kind of picked up off the scrap heap. Yeah, right. Okay, let's keep going. Let's go to Do You Love It? As if I couldn't hate the Dodgers any more than I already did. Sick of them putting it lightly. He's obviously upset about the Skubal deal.
Yeah. And let me ask you the bigger picture question. So they get Skubal, and I think they'll re-sign Skubal because they have the resources to pay whatever Scott Boras is going to demand. And he's an unbelievable talent. I mean, what he's done the last 3 years has just been phenomenal. But in the big picture, when it comes time to negotiate the new CBA, I don't know if we have a salary cap. We have a salary cap, or do we just continue to have the luxury tax, but much stronger penalties of luxury tax? And then how do you deal with the deferred contracts? Because the Dodgers are paying so much money in luxury tax right now as repeat offenders. These 10 players with deferred contracts that go out to 2036, that's going to have to be all grandfathered in. So the Dodger way of doing business, this might be the last time we'll ever see this, just because of the new structure of whatever the new CBA is going to be. You think it's going to be different, John?
Well, it has to be different. I mean, they need to restructure the way this whole league works. But imagine if they do give a grandfather clause for all the all those extended deals. It's going to give the Dodgers a financial advantage until all of those deals eventually expire. And when does the Ohtani deal finally run out? I mean, that's out like 15, 20 years, isn't it?
No, I think it goes to 2036.
Okay.
The
Dodgers will have an advantage until at least then.
Yeah. But unless you ban deferred contracts going forward as part of the equation. So therefore, then the Dodgers are operating like everybody else. But I don't think we'll have a salary cap. I do think we'll have teeth with the luxury tax and steeper penalties for guys who keep going over the luxury tax. But at the end of the day, the floor to spending has to be part of a new deal. So it'll be interesting to see where we go from now through the 1st of December when the thing expires.
Right on. Okay, let's keep going. Some Angel talk with Teamer. Sad to see Soriano and Adele go, but this rebuild is necessary for the Angels.
Rebuild, yes. Stockpile a lot of good young talent. There's a bunch of these kids that when 15 minutes I had to do research before we started today. Was just my hair was on fire. There was so much information to process. A bunch of these kids have got good credentials, at least in the lower minor leagues. I just wish they had gotten more established major league pitching right now, because they're going to be terrible. They're going to win another game the rest of the season. They've traded so many people away, so that bears watching as we go forward. But at least they're stockpiling kids with potential, some of whom are high draft picks going forward. And we'll see if Freddie Moreno gives Mozeliak the budget money he needs to go back into free agency and get veterans in here, because I don't think they're going to win many games the rest of the season.
Do you think Mike Trout is maybe regretting his decision to not waive his no trade clause?
No. And he could always waive it. He could waive it at the winter baseball meetings if he wanted. But no, he's loyal and he's different. And he likes living in Southern California, and he just handles his own personal business very, very different. So I guess you kind of got to salute him.
Yeah. Do you kind of compare Trout and Tony Gwynn as being so, and even Cal Ripken as longtime players with a single franchise?
Yeah, Tony. As Tony was at the peak of his career, and the Padres were so bad forever and ever, there was always an undercurrent of conversation on sports talk radio, although I didn't buy it, that the Padres should trade him. Well, he didn't want to be traded. He was from Long Beach. He was from here. His whole life was here. He became Mr. Padre. Did not want to be traded. Made some decent money at that point. I mean, it was not like the kind of money that's being made right now. So there's nothing wrong with loyalty. And sadly, he left us really early. But I think there's a piece of Tony Gwynn in our community will never leave us because of that loyalty of that person.
Oh, yeah, tremendous. You hear in my hometown of Poway, we built a statue to Tony Gwynn up at Lake Poway Park. That's a nice bucket list visit. Hey, let's go to music to my ears. Padres got Robbie Ray, definitely going to make the playoffs now, even the World Series, especially now that Manny is batting 210. Look out, Dodgers.
Well, the Padres, in terms of the rotation, will be much more competitive. I mean, they've been living on borrowed time. This patchwork package of a burned out bullpen and how are they structuring this? They did get some decent innings out of JP Sears. And who would have thought Canning would give him 4 shutout innings in one appearance? Marquez would give him 5 shutout innings the next time. That's like living on borrowed time. You can't do that. And we still got 50 plus games to play. We got the whole, we got all of August and all of September. So Robbie Ray coupled with King, and the quality innings you'll get, they won't be consistent quality innings, but what you're going to get from Buehler is going to make you competitive. Now, I don't know if Marquez has figured it out. I don't know if you can trust Canning going forward. We don't know, when Pivetta and Musgrove will be ready to actually take the ball in the rotation. And then what will those quality innings look like? Will they be 3 innings? Will they be 5? Will they be an inning and a third because they're not the same pitcher anymore? Will there be another flare-up? So there's still a great deal of uncertainty, but at least Robbie Ray with King, with Buehler, gives them a better chance of hanging in a bunch of series, and then they'll get the postseason. We'll see where it goes.
Yeah. Plus, there's a chance of Pivetta and Musgrove, although that's a reach. But, I'm kind of curious to what the conversation was like when Stammen and Niebla had to sit down with Vasquez, had to sit down with Marquez, and say, basically, you're going to be kind of an opener. We're not really going to think of you as traditional starters. I mean, that would have had to been a pretty heavy dose of reality for those guys.
Yeah, but when your ERA is 6 or 7, and that's what was going on with those guys, and they had regressed, there was no response. This is the conversation. This is the game plan. We're going to work with you to straighten you out, accept it, and go produce. And a couple of times they have. A couple of times they have not. These guys are not what they used to be. They've had a whole season with the major leagues, but injuries have been a bit of the issue still with Cannon. Obviously, have flared again with Marquez. But, when you pitched as poorly as those guys have pitched, they were lucky they've not DFA'd, but there was nobody to replace them. That's why they did not get a DFA assignment and were taken off the roster. So they did what they had to do, and now the Padres have added at least one arm. We'll see if there's more coming.
Okay, let's go here. Dodger talk with Casey. Hey, good afternoon, guys. I think my Dodgers did well in the Skubal trade. It didn't have to give up prospects, Jose DePaula and James Tibbs. And I like the catcher we got as well. Hacksaw, what grade do you give them?
Oh, I would say, obviously, by the arrival of Skubal and the fact they didn't give up Emmett Sheehan, in addition to the best prospects, they gave up prospects, but not Emmett Sheehan and not DePaula. I'd give him an A. You have to give him an A. And understand, they got him not for a 2-month rental. They got him because they're going to sign him. I bet my mortgage payment that they're going to sign him to be part of this thing going forward. And it's a really deep rotation right now. If I got five-man star-studded rotation, hell, if everybody's healthy, if Snell and Glasnow come back, that's 9 potential starters. And what you do is you take some of the potential starters, you make them into long relievers when you get into postseason, if you ever need long relievers or even a bullpen day. So Dodgers are just so rich in terms of this talent level. So I give them an A.
Yeah, of course it's an A, but it is just absurd how much talent they have on that roster, and granted, yeah, they've made good decisions. They're taking advantage of the system as it exists. Nothing they're doing is illegal, but gee whiz, it just seems like every time you turn around, there's another star that's gone on the team. And now players want to play for the Dodgers. I think I saw a quote from TARIK Skubal that he said that's where he'd like to be, when he signs as a free agent in the offseason.
Yeah. Hey, John, I just got a couple of notes here, just got sent to me from my baseball contacts. Milwaukee has just acquired relief pitcher Antonio Senzatella from Colorado. Cleveland has just acquired 12-2 left-handed starting pitcher Foster Griffin from the Washington Nationals. Minnesota, which has been stockpiling pitching, just picked up Jeff Hoffman, refugee from Toronto. And the Arizona Diamondbacks have just acquired outfielder Lance Nootbaar. He's not had a great year hitting this year, but he's a pretty good ball player up until the time he goes to Arizona. So things are happening between now as we get to the top of the hour and the trade deadline. And of course, there'll probably be some more trades that are going to get released, John, going after 3 o'clock. So we'll try to keep you updated. Boy, there's a lot of stuff in baseball.
Yeah, even Dustin May was dealt from the St. Louis Cardinals to the Milwaukee Brewers.
Exactly.
So there's been so many interesting deals. So the clock's still ticking. According to my watch, we've got a few minutes left. But let's keep on going down the list here, talking to some of the fans. Everyone's got a hot take. Here's Halos in the infield. Says Angels are having a great deadline. Is this an encouraging for first step, in your opinion, for the Angels?
Oh, very much so. Mozeliak's response last week was, are you going to trade all these guys? Why would you trade these guys? His response was, we're in last place with these guys. He's like a typical general manager. These are not my players. I inherited a last place team. My mandate was to make this thing better and to fix it. So he's done. The only glitch, I don't think he got enough in the Soriano trade. I think he should have gotten some established major league or close to be major league pitching. I mean, if you're going to move Soriano, you got to get arms. Now, he got prospects. There's no doubt about it, just like everybody else. But I don't think he got enough there. Otherwise, if you're asking me a letter grade off the top of my head, probably a B+ for the future. But, John, they're going to lose. They're going to lose like hell, unless there's something else coming here that has not been announced yet. I don't know how they're going to win the rest of the season because they got rid of relief pitching. They got rid of the front end of the rotation. Detmers is still there, but we still got time for this deal to be approved or sent somewhere else. So, but in terms of step one to fix it, this is the right step. And they got lots of numbers of prospects. But those are prospects or suspect till they get to the show and prove they can do it.
Do they still have Zach Nato at shortstop?
Yes, at this point, still.
Okay. I mean, he was always in the rumor mill.
To Boston. He was in rumor mill to Boston, and Boston just traded Mayer away.
Okay, let's keep going here. Let's go to Mike. I love the Robbie Ray trade for a lot of reasons. Number one, he's a lefty. Number two, we get his help right away against the D-backs. And number three, we take him away from the division rival Giants. Just wish we could have gotten Devers too.
Well, they were never going to get Devers because of the contract. There's a lid on the money. That's why the Giants paid a piece of the $7 million that is still owed over the final 2 months of the season. Robbie Ray's contract was $25 million this year, which is a phenomenal amount of money. It's just a lot of the many bloated contracts the Giants have. The Giants, boy, John, they look terrible. I mean, they don't hit, considering what they're paying these guys. They don't hit. Their defense in their infield, I think, is really spotty, very erratic. So, I mean, they've got so many internal problems with the structure of the roster and who these players are and why they're not playing up to their standards. So, Buster Posey's got either he made mistakes or these guys just had underachieving type seasons. Yeah.
I mean, I like Bryce Eldridge as a prospect for the Giants, and he's promising. But, when they gave the extension to Chapman, they made the trade for Devers, even Willie Adames, it seemed like they overpaid for him as well. And these guys have all been good in flashes, but they've never been the dominant player that they used to be. So I definitely agree with you. I think Posey made some mistakes, so now one step back so you can take 2 steps forward. But I do like Robbie Ray as an addition to this Padre roster because he just looked damn good on bucket hat night on Thursday at Petco. I was really impressed. He went 6 innings, 1 run. I mean, the dude has got a lot left in the tank. I think this is going to be a big difference.
He's not a power pitcher anymore, but he's getting by on guile. He's getting by on experience. And John, his last 7 starts, his ERA is 1.09. That's wow. Pretty impressive. So they bring him in here, and he'll now be the number 2 dude behind Michael King, and then you got whatever you get from Buehler, but it's been more good than bad with Walker Buehler. So now you got 3 trustworthy starters, but again, somebody's got to make a decision. What do they do at 4? What do they do at 5? And, starting tomorrow morning at 11 a.m. up in Lake Elsinore, Pavetta and Musgrove are going to both try to go 3 innings. Now, I don't know if they're ready to go 3 innings. And then we have to see how they respond. So they're gonna each need probably 3 rehab starts with no setbacks before we'll get a determination if those are the guys who are going to be 4 and 5. If not, then it goes to Marquez and Canning, bullpen days, whatever. But at least the Padres at this hour are better in terms of numbers they can lean on in the rotation with Robbie Ray coming on board.
My hunch is that Pivetta could be a starter again, but Musgrove might just end up being part of this pitching chaos, because I need to see him perform. We'll find out here with this game at Lake Elsinore. Let's go back to some Dodger talk from HB949. Dodgers are already smoking cigars and drinking champagne. Don't be surprised if they lose the first playoff series. Can you imagine that?
I don't think that's going to happen. So, there got to be a few red flags, though, because obviously this knee tenderness and the bicep inflammation has returned for Ohtani, and he's not going to pitch. They're talking now it'll be September before they actually let him back to throw bullpens. Now Snell thinks he's ready. Snell was supposed to be there this week. He asked him to allow him to have one more rehab start. He's had 4 so far. So far, so good. It's interesting. He's never really talked about the bone chip problem, but he talked about it over the weekend after his 4 shutout innings at Ontario. And that was all about pitch count. That was not about he threw 4 shutout innings in Class A ball against high school and college kids. But he said the bone chip problem he had in his elbow was causing numbness in his fingers. And they had never let on that he's had this problem for the better part of a year. So he said he's had no numbness, no strange feeling whatsoever in his fingers since the bone chip was taken out. So, John, maybe that means he becomes Blake Snell of old, because right now he's had no setbacks. His pitch count is up. His innings are getting better and better. So we'll see a week from today. We'll know when he's going to make his start in the Dodger rotation, and we'll see if this is green light go.
Everything's going the Dodgers' way, Lee. Okay,
Yep.
Let's go here to Texocala Station. Dodgers have to win it all now, or else they will never live it down. How is that for pressure? MLB could have said no to this deal. After all, the NBA stopped a Chris Paul trade to the Lakers once to keep it fair.
Well, baseball is not going to intervene because they didn't do anything illegal. They traded away a bunch of blue chip kids. They just didn't give away the whole farm, but they traded away really good players. There's no doubt that outfielder is just a spectacular player, and he's probably going to be in Detroit's starting outfield next season. And we'll see if River Ryan can stay healthy, because when he's pitched at the major league level, as infrequently it's been, he's pitched pretty well, and his track record in the minors was pretty good. So, Detroit got good people. I don't think Detroit got enough. Detroit should have said, we want Emmett Sheehan, or they should have said, you got to put Lauer in the deal, or they would probably never get Wroblewski. But they should have gotten Emmett Sheehan as part of this package. But so that's where we are.
Yeah, I think Detroit should have traded him last offseason. They probably would have got a lot more. I mean, did they think that the Tigers were going to be competitive for the playoffs this year?
Well, remember, they thought their pitching staff was green light go. And what happened was that Skubal, he had a bone spur. Verlander spent a long period of time on the disabled list. Mize was on the disabled list. So that's 3 right there. They started the season and they didn't hit, but then they got hot. And then the pitchers finally got back healthy, and Skubal came back. And Skubal's been phenomenal since he had that nano-neuroscope procedure to deal with the bone spur. So all of a sudden they got back in the pennant race, but then they kind of filtered away last week and fell about 2.5, 3.5 back. All of a sudden they decided to sell. So it'd be tough. It'd be tough if you went the rest of the season, didn't make the playoffs, and then lost them. And at least you can say, look who we got. We got three pretty good prospects from the Dodgers. I think they should have gotten more.
Yeah, they probably should have got a lot more, for sure. Okay, let's keep on moving. Go to Bo Bello. Hey, when I first started listening to Lee, people didn't use the internet.
I was the internet before the internet. I learned how to network when I was doing sports talk radio in Phoenix. That's where I developed this whole system of information, because I started to network with everybody. And there wasn't a phone number in the world I wouldn't call to try to get data and information. And then I started using all these people as kind of insiders on my own talk show. I was doing stuff on sports talk radio that nobody had ever done before. Now the whole world's trying to do the same type of thing. But yeah, I was the internet before the internet because I was an information hound. That's what I like. That's what I am today. Ask John. John goes crazy when I send him all the stuff that we post on the website. He loses his mind because he has to process everything and then post it for the newsletters. You got to get our newsletters. Those of you who are on this podcast, you got to subscribe and sample my newsletters or sample my website. Damn, it's bleeping brilliant. You'll be impressed. But John, that's who I am. I apologize. No, I don't have to apologize for being bleeping brilliant.
Yeah, I was blown away when I first listened to you on Extra 690, probably like in the late 80s. And I was like, who the hell is this guy? Because you just were coming hard with data, with facts, with rumors, and it was terrific. And you're still doing it. I love that. Okay, let's move on. We'll go to the O-Siders. Hacksaw, thoughts on the Chargers practicing in San Diego at USD for the second year in a row? And will you be attending the Tuesday or Wednesday practices?
I'm pretty busy. I don't think so. But I can cover it. I know people that will be there, etc. It is unique because tomorrow is the first day they're going to be in full pads. So there will be contact at USD. But they've kind of limited, they want only their season ticket holders. I don't know. They got 12 season ticket holders out of San Diego. Who goes to these practices? Because they did it last year. And everybody said, the Chargers are going to be back. We'll go experience it. And then you find out that it was limited only to season ticket holders or invitees, which I think is kind of a tacky way to deal with the city that used to support you for 55 years. So they've had a good camp. I'm waiting for preseason games to begin. I'm very fascinated to see what the linkage is of Mike McDaniel, Justin Herbert. And I guarantee you, because I've watched some video, I got access to video, their practices and their formations are so radically different than they ran ever before. It's going to be fun because this whole thing with Mike McDaniel is on mismatches. And what am I going to create with motion and all that to help Justin Herbert get the ball out of there? And how the hell are you going to defend what I'm creating? And they got, John, they've got a lot of skilled people. And so we'll see if this works and if they can protect the quarterback, then quarterback can get the ball out. Because when McDaniel's first 2 years with Tua Tagovailoa in Miami and they installed this motion package, John, they were explosive, they were dangerous, and Tagovailoa threw for like almost 10,000 yards in 2 years before he got hurt. So that'd be fascinating to see how this is when live fire, real games begin.
Yeah, I agree. I think McDaniel is going to be a huge breath of fresh air. It's going to be one of the top stories in the NFL, the way this offense works. But yep. I'll tell you what, Dean Spanos has a lot of balls to come back to San Diego and do a training camp here. I've heard Charger fans say there's still a contingent of San Diego Charger fans that are loyal to the team, to go to LA for the games and even travel on the road.
It may well be. I don't think it's big numbers, but it may well be. And that's okay. That's their prerogative. And there's a lot of Charger fans down here that still watch, although a bunch of them, I think, hate watch along the course of the season. But that's a good general manager. That's a coach with a great track record. That's a hell of a quarterback. You don't have to like the owner. My favorite phrase is, I hope Justin Herbert goes 17-0, and I hope Dean Spanos goes 0-17. And I know there's counseling and there's probably medication for that, but that's the way I feel.
It's like, that's something you got to take up with your therapist, Lee. If you can. So, all right, let's bounce around here. Do you love it? Says, oh, poor Baker. How dare they not offer you $40 million a year?
Oh, well, when you're good and you save the franchise and the price tag on every quarterback around you has gone up and gone up and gone up, and then your people lowball you, let's be fair to Baker Mayfield. I mean, he's a scrapper. He's a leader. And they haven't had great teams around him, and yet he won 2 NFC South divisions since he got there. And he's grown. I think he's grown to become a very competitive leader. He's really popular on the Sun Coast. But why are they doing this? Why are they doing this to him? He's the cornerstone of the offense. And why are they doing this to the defensive tackle, the Pro Bowler, Vita Vea? He's one of the reasons their defense has been so rock solid, is because he's so big and so tough. I just don't understand the rationale of why Jason Lick is handling that team the way he is, why the Glazers are operating the way the Glazers are operating.
I mean, he's still getting paid, what, $20 million, $30 million a year? And imagine saying, Oh, I feel disrespected because I'm not making at least 40. So
Yeah, but everybody's making that kind of money, John. The star quarterbacks are making 40 to 50.
yeah,
And
I hear you.
he's making 30.
But that's what's just funny about it. It's so these numbers are absurd. But Baker Mayfield, got off to like a rough start, and in his career, and he was kind of always kind of pushed aside, and he keeps exceeding expectations, especially in Tampa.
Okay, John, just got a bulletin here. The Padres have just made another big pitching acquisition. They have obtained Casey Mize from the Detroit Tigers as part of the deal. They are giving up two of their top left-handed pitchers in the farm system. They are dealing Cash Mayfield, Jackson Wolf, and others to Detroit for Casey Mize. Wow. So now they got Robbie Ray, and they got Casey Mize, and there's no doubt they're all in to try to go deep into postseason in the National League West.
Wow. Yeah, I saw Cash Mayfield. They scratched him from a start a few nights ago. So this is all probably coming. I'm under Casey Mize is probably this. Is he still under team control? Because he's pretty young.
Got one more year. He's I would call him a young veteran, highly regarded #1 draft pick, real competitive guy. I think he's 6'5", but he's had a lot of injuries. But when he's pitched recently, he's pitched really well. He was kind of force-fed at a young age and got his brains blown out, had to go back to the minor leagues and just learn, and then finally got back there about 2.5 years ago. So that's a good acquisition because right now he's at the peak of his game. I think he's got 1 year control left. So
interesting.
That's good acquisition, but they gave up all these pitchers in the farm system.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting how the Padres, they're definitely buyers. Like I said, I thought they should have been sellers from the start, but if you're going to be a buyer, getting Robbie Ray and Casey Mize, now the rotation, you at least got 4 guys you can rely on, plus Bueller, plus the wild cards of Pivetta and Musgrove. So we'll see. This is interesting.
Very much so. Now,
okay, let's go. Oh, go ahead.
End of the day, as excited as Padre fan might be about Robbie Ray and Casey Mize, end of the day, you got holes in left field, and they have historically a future Hall of Fame third baseman whose back of the baseball card says he hits .211 in postseason. That has to change.
Yeah, I mean, well, Bowen is not cutting it in the left. Good on him for getting the home run, but what was the other guy? Samad Taylor, he's been hurt. Yep. Ramon Laureano is out. Yeah, you expected them to get another bat, for that left field spot. So it's 3:15, so we've already passed the deadline, right, Lee?
Well, yeah, but there'll still be some deals that probably will be announced. That the league has to review every contract, etc. And there are deals that have been turned into the league that are backed up. So there could between now and 4 o'clock there could be more transactions. But that's vintage AJ Preller. Trade the farm system away, so he gets 2 starting pitchers. That's pretty good.
F them draft picks.
Right? All right, come on, let's get a couple more here.
Okay, let's go to John. Hey, in Washington, D.C., I hated to see Garcia go, but the Nats needed pitching badly. I just hope these 4 work out half as well as Abrams and Wood.
Well, they kept Abrams, they kept Wood, and obviously they got 4 players in the Yankee deal with a transaction there. Garcia, sounds weird. I mean, he's hitting .283 with 24 home runs. He'd never done this before. He was a second baseman and kind of a failure defensively, and they had to put him at first base because of the deficiencies he has hit. So I don't know if this is a one-off for him, but obviously the Yankees are so desperate for bats just because of all the injuries they've got. So this could be a save the season deal for the Yankees if this guy hits at Yankee Stadium like he's hit in Washington. And obviously it's adding a lot of components to the Washington Nationals roster. We'll see how many get there and how quickly they get there. Okay, next one.
Okay. All right, I had one of these guys queued up here. And Wayne, this is a new name. Hello, Lee. Love your work.
Thank you very much. We enjoy doing it. John won't tell you, but we occasionally do research as to the number of followers we have and the people who sample us. And last week, John was telling me about this because he's the research arm of this team. that on the YouTube, on a live stream, we had 11,000 viewers last week when we did the trading deadline preview show, John. 11,000. I mean, that's a phenomenal number. And that doesn't include the subscribers on YouTube and the subscribers we've got to the website, and then the people that sample us on Instagram and X. The followers, the numbers we have followers are just phenomenal.
Everybody loves you, Hacksaw.
No. I wouldn't say so.
But seriously, dude. I mean, you keep it coming, man. I mean, a lot of guys, would have, be, hanging out down somewhere in the Gulf Coast in Florida, enjoying a nice retirement, but not you. You just keep going.
I like information, and I think people obviously like information. And what we're doing, our podcast is so different than other people because we had graphics and we have the fans forum and logos and pictures, and we kind of do some really unique stuff. So if you don't like it,
Hacksaw art in the back.
If you don't like it, blame John. John created this podcast. I just kind of fill in the blanks with the content.
Yeah, right.
But thank you for being with us. Go ahead, John.
Okay, let's go to Retro JR. We've just had one of the best World Cups since 1994, and leave it to a moron who wanted to ruin everything.
Boy, Infantino. I mean, if we think your president is out of control, how about Infantino? The stuff that he tried to do, and they've done this investigative report that Infantino was going to become the CEO of this marketing arm that would guarantee him $30 million a year. And he tried to ram this one-man project through without going through the executive committee and the way they normally conduct business at FIFA. I think he just committed professional suicide.
Oh yeah, I mean, I agree. I mean, it was such an obvious move that he was going to, get this marketing company involved and then become the CEO of it. And when that happened, you're like, this ain't right. But it's just so consistent with the way FIFA operates and the way they do business.
Just amazing. Okay, a couple more here before we put a lid on it. Go ahead.
Okay, I'm going to go here to some of the social media comments because those are always fun to get involved. And let's go here to Dave Toper. Enough, Hacksaw. This is when you're bashing on the Padres. Enough, Hacksaw. I've listened to you for years. Go back to spewing Raider hate. Please, all we have in San Diego is the Padres. We all understand their problems. You're old and short, but we don't say it every time.
But I am bleeping brilliant. Thank you very much. He obviously doesn't like the content. Hey, we have to deal with what we have to deal with. When your team has gone through 2/3 of the season as underachievers with all the money that they're being paid, you don't want me to sit here and sing their praises, do you? That's ridiculous. So at the end of the day, if you don't like the content, too bad you don't like the content, but this is what has made us very successful, telling you the way it is, giving you the ideas and the background on the stories, adding our opinions, and then giving you the chance to critique us.
They want you to be a homer, Lee. I mean, that's what it all comes down to. Okay, let's keep going. Let's go here to some Dodger talk. This is with Steven. Sir, I'm sorry. This is when you gave him the grade. What was a B, at the midseason mark?
Yeah.
Sir, I'm sorry, but you're tripping. This is a terrible take. Dodgers are playing historical ball, matched only by teams with great seasons nearly 75 years ago. They're doing this at the same time, slow playing all of their October pieces. The Dodger leadership is playing chess while the rest of the league is stuck playing checkers.
Well, at the end of the day, they got the resources to be able to do it. And I don't think that everybody has the resources to be able to do this, but I'm not in favor of salary cap. I'm in favor of luxury tax. I'm in favor of the floor to spending. Because if you make the product in all 30 markets really good and everybody's got a chance to be in the playoffs like the NFL's become, then you got yourself a really good business model. And baseball and the union have not allowed that to happen. They have to mandate that to happen. But, the Dodgers were just not the dominant team for a wide variety of reasons, most of them injury related. And now they got Skubal, and now they made the trades for 2 catchers. And so it'll be fascinating to see going forward what the rest of August and the rest of September is. But who's going to stand up and play against them right now? I mean, that to me, they are such a different baseball team. They're like, John, they're like in a different galaxy than everybody else in Major League Baseball. You're a Dodger fan. Read my one man's opinion column on my website today because I tell you what I think about this whole Skubal transaction with the evil umpire.
Well, the Red Sox just swept the Dodgers, didn't they?
Mm-hmm.
So, again, it just, they're great, but, when it comes right down, we're going to find out how great they are. I mean, three World Series in a row, they're the odds-on favorite, right?
Yes. And nobody's ever done that in modern-day baseball.
Okay, let's keep on going. A lot of Padre Dodger comments here. Let's go to, who is this? MK Wager. This season has been disappointing for sure, but nothing will top 2023. Most fans kind of knew it was going to be difficult to even make the wild card this year, and most leaning towards it being a good possibility. But in 2023, everyone had us making and winning the World Series. That team will always have me just extremely confused whenever I look back at that year.
Well, they've been close. I mean, they had the one playoff series with the Dodgers where they led 2-1, and then it became a bullpen day, and they went 24 straight innings. I mean, that's a black mark in the history of Padre baseball. And there have been other seasons, fire sale seasons, and seasons in which they get rid of players on stars of the team. But so A.J. Preller has positioned them now with these 2 last-minute trades. I mean, getting Robbie Ray, and now within the last half hour, making this deal for Casey Mize. It's right there in front of them to just go be a player. Now, granted, the Dodgers are ahead of them, but I'll tell you, the Padres, with the way they're hitting, if they get quality pitching, the Padres are going to scare some people in postseason play in the National League playoffs. At the end of the day, you still got to beat the Dodgers. So, and they do play the Dodgers and the Yankees again before the end of the season.
Lee, walk us through again some of that artwork behind you, because it's classic.
Well, there's a big framed sketch over this shoulder that a guy did when I worked at Extra 690. He did it of all the talk show hosts and was on the walls in the lobby when we came in. The one that's just above my head is a sketch from when I worked in Phoenix at KTAR and did Sun Devil football. The others are just pictures of places I've been doing broadcast. The one on the far right with the light-colored frame is a picture of all the play-by-play teams that I've worked with, doing the Chargers, the Aztecs, Seattle Seahawks, just a whole bunch of my friends and my play-by-play teams. So those are some of the pictures in my, quote, man cave.
Well, I'd imagine for you, the 2 NFL play-by-play jobs are obviously the most prestigious.
Yep.
But other than those 2, which was your favorite?
Oh, no, those 2 are the epitome because you got to the NFL and there's only 32 of those jobs available. And I wound up getting hired twice to do that, which was really spectacular. I think the other unique thing is I grew up in a baseball family, and I spent years doing minor league baseball, Utica Blue Sox in the New York Penn League, and then I did the Phoenix Giants in the old Pacific Coast League before the Arizona Diamondbacks ever came here. And getting to travel, it's been a whole week in Hawaii. In the PCL, John, you'd go in and you'd play the Hawaii Islanders for 6 games. I'd spend 6 days in Honolulu. It was really cool. An old Aloha Stadium. It was really neat. In fact, I think when I was doing the Phoenix Giants, I think the Hawaii Islanders were the Padres Farm Club, AAA Farm Club. I didn't see Gwynn there, but I saw Alan Wiggins and a whole bunch of those guys. So I love that. And obviously I started my professional play-by-play career doing hockey. And to do my first broadcast ever from the gondola, the historic gondola at Maple Leaf Gardens in Toronto, man, that was so cool. I kind of thought I died and gone to heaven. And now look at it. I'm doing a podcast with you in Poway. Jeez.
You just got to get you on the air, Lee. Hey, let's wrap this bad boy up.
It's great. Hey, we hope you've enjoyed our podcast, our trading deadline show. Thank you to the Padres for making the 2 deals as we were going on the air and just before it wrapped up, so we got all the information to you. We're here Mondays and Thursdays at 1:30. Lots to cover, lots to talk about. Please check my website, leehacksawhamilton.com. You will really like it. My best 15 minutes in sports, my one man's opinion column every day. Join Hacksaw's Insiders Group so you can get the newsletters, get on the email list. Help us grow this thing. Give us a thumbs up. Hit the forward follow button. Give us a 5-star rating on Apple. John, take a deep breath. We'll see what happens come Thursday. I'm going to write about all this tonight. So we'll have a fresh column on Padre baseball, Dodger baseball, Angel baseball on the website tomorrow. I'll see you Thursday at 1:30.
Thursday at 1:30. Looking forward to it, Lee.
And you have yourself a great day. Podcast brought to you by Dixieline Lumber and Home Centers. 8 locations to serve you in San Diego. Build it, fix it, you'll enjoy it. Thanks to Dixieline.com. Have yourself a great day. Thanks for being part of Hacksaw's Headlines.
Join us again for Hacksaw's Headlines on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. And find the audio version on your favorite podcast apps. For more content, go to LeeHacksawHamilton.com.